Who goes barefoot at their own wedding and leaves an entire room of A-list guests speechless? When Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco said, "I do," on a golden September evening in Santa Barbara, no one expected what came next. No over-the-top production. No stiff, rehearsed moments for the cameras. Just two people who threw away every Hollywood rulebook and replaced it with something so personal, so pure, it brought everyone to tears. Under soft lights and surrounded by friends like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, and Paul Rudd, Selena couldn't hold it in. As Benny read his vows, she bawled her eyes out, according to those who were there. The room went silent. The kind of silence that only real emotion can create. But what came after that stunned even their closest friends. Selena took a deep breath, slipped off her heels, and reached for Benny's hand. Moments later, he kicked off his shoes too. And together, barefoot, they began their first dance, not a typical slow sway, but a passionate, free-spirited performance inspired by Dirty Dancing and Grease. It wasn't about perfection. It was about freedom. And as their friends and family watched, one thing became clear: this wasn't just a wedding. It was a declaration that love, real love, doesn't need diamonds, spotlights, or shoes. Forget the glitz and the gossip. Selena and Benny's wedding wasn't a show. It was a statement. On September 27th, Santa Barbara turned into the most unexpected love stage of the year. Guests weren't ushered into grand marble halls or seated beneath crystal chandeliers. Instead, they arrived at a private, sun-soaked venue that felt more like home than Hollywood. A guest described the scene as peaceful, soulful, and deeply intimate. Around 170 people gathered, their inner circle. Taylor Swift gave a toast that had everyone laughing through tears. Ed Sheeran, one of Benny's longtime friends, spoke about watching their love evolve from studio sessions to soul connection. Paris Hilton, Paul Rudd, and even Steve Martin, Selena's only Murders in the Building co-star, were among the faces beaming with joy. But amid all the star power, there was no red carpet energy. No spotlight moment for paparazzi. It was love, stripped bare, just as Selena and Benny wanted it. A source close to the couple said, they both just wanted to dance, to laugh, to celebrate. That's all they cared about. And that energy, simple, heartfelt, and unfiltered, set the tone for everything that came next. Even before the wedding day, guests knew this celebration would be anything but ordinary. The night before, Selena and Benny hosted a small, private rehearsal dinner under a glowing white tent. But instead of a fancy steakhouse menu or 5-course luxury meal, they served Thai food, a deeply personal choice that took everyone by surprise. Why Thai food? Because that was where their love story quietly began. On one of their earliest dates, long before anyone even knew they were together, Benny took Selena to a tiny Thai restaurant in Los Angeles. No paparazzi, no luxury, just noodles, laughter, and music playing softly in the background. That memory became their little secret. And bringing that same menu to their rehearsal dinner was their way of saying, we never forgot where it started. Only a handful of people were invited to that dinner, mostly family and closest friends. Those who were there said it felt less like a celebrity pre-wedding and more like a family gathering. Laughter echoed through the tent, candles flickered in the breeze, and the couple shared stories of how far they'd come. It was a night of nostalgia, and a quiet promise that the next day would be just as personal. Most celebrity brides lead every creative decision for their wedding. But not this time. Reports reveal that Benny Blanco designed nearly every detail himself. From the floral arrangements to the color palette, everything carried his fingerprint. The result? A wedding that felt like stepping inside their shared life. Velvet couches replaced banquet chairs. Persian rugs stretched across the ground. Florals in deep reds, creamy whites, and rustic browns framed the space. Guests said the decor looked eclectic, warm, and unapologetically Benny. It mirrored their Beverly Hills home, artistic, moody, and cozy at the same time. A source said, "Benny's really into design. He planned the whole thing, it felt like walking into their living room." But there was one detail nobody missed: shoes were optional. Because Benny, famously, hates wearing them. And that choice, that tiny, rebellious comfort, would later define the entire celebration. When guests arrived, they noticed something different. The ground wasn't marble or grass. It was layered in soft rugs and vintage carpets. Some wondered why. Then they saw Benny, shoeless, smiling, and completely in his element. This wasn't just about comfort. It was a metaphor. By going barefoot, Benny and Selena symbolized stripping away the expectations of fame, grounding themselves, literally, in something real. The rule caught on fast. Within an hour, guests began ditching their shoes too. Elegant heels and glossy loafers sat in corners, forgotten, as everyone joined the couple in feeling the floor beneath their feet. One guest joked, "It's the most comfortable wedding I've ever been to." But more than that, it became a kind of spiritual thing. Without the barriers of formality, everyone danced, laughed, and connected like old friends. It was unfiltered humanity, something rare in celebrity circles. Then came the moment no one would ever forget. The music started, a soft instrumental that built slowly into a cinematic rhythm. Benny reached for Selena's hand, and they began their first dance as husband and wife. Barefoot. What started as a gentle sway quickly turned into something magical. They lifted, spun, dipped, laughed, the choreography blending old Hollywood romance with pure, playful energy. Inspired by Dirty Dancing and Grease, their movements told a story. Selena, now in a mid-length vintage white dress, looked radiant. Gone was the structured Ralph Lauren gown from the ceremony. This was her, free, spontaneous, in love. A guest described it perfectly: they weren't performing. They were living in it. By the end of the song, the crowd erupted. Applause, cheers, and even tears. People said it was like watching two souls communicate without words. Taylor Swift reportedly stood up first, clapping through her tears. Ed Sheeran was seen smiling wide, mouthing, "That was insane." It was raw. It was beautiful. And it was perfectly them. After that emotional dance, the energy shifted, and the party truly began. Instead of a formal sit-down dinner, the couple opted for something much more fluid. Nobu catered the food, sushi rolls, mini plates, and creative bites served throughout the evening. Then came the crowd favorite, an elaborate ice cream sundae bar that had everyone lining up like kids again. Music played non-stop. Guests danced barefoot for hours, surrounded by glowing candles and soft ambient lights. No pressure, no poses, just movement and laughter. One insider said, "It wasn't a performance. It was joy. Pure joy." Even the decor, with its cozy couches and dim lighting, made everyone feel at home. Couples danced in corners, friends sang along to old hits, and Selena reportedly couldn't stop smiling the entire night. By the time it ended, nobody wanted to leave. In an industry where weddings often cost millions and every flower is sponsored by a luxury brand, Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco did the impossible. They made simplicity the headline. There were no tabloid perfect moments, no brand shoutouts, no hidden agenda. Just love, real, flawed, and alive. Their barefoot first dance wasn't a stunt. It was a message. That even in a world obsessed with glamour, fame, and filters, authenticity still wins hearts. Fans online called it the most human celebrity wedding ever. Others said it felt like watching a fairy tale come to life, only better, because it was real. Selena, who spent years navigating the highs and lows of fame, has always been open about craving peace, honesty, and connection. And with Benny, she seems to have found exactly that. Their wedding didn't just break tradition. It broke the mold, reminding everyone that love, at its best, is about comfort, laughter, and the courage to be exactly who you are. So tell me this. If you were in their place, would you dare to go barefoot at your own wedding? Because maybe, just maybe, that's where the real magic begins.